You?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Rob?
Doing great, doing great. Just a couple of quick questions. I want to take you way back at first, because obviously I remember covering you as a player here. Obviously you were part of some big wins. Oklahoma State comes to mind, the comeback against West Virginia. But I wonder if you have any favorite on the field moments you could reflect on as a Cyclone. And now, several years later, you're back as a safeties coach.
I got a couple off the top of my head. Obviously Oklahoma State, the West Virginia game. But I'll be honest, Rob, like I'm here now and I'm focused on like the future, man. Like what I've done in the past, it's not going to change what we're going to do and our mission moving forward. So I try not to dwell too much on that and try to just really embrace where I'm at now with the program and working to create memories for the guys we have now.
For sure. And in the same vein, how would you trace your career progression, and how much did spending that year in the NFL with the Bills in 2014 help, I guess, crystallize your plan, because you've kind of gone step by step to this point, in an impressive career trajectory?
Yeah, I think, before I even joined the Buffalo Bills, I really wanted to start coaching. So, even before I joined, I actually did an internship at Ohio Wesleyan before I joined the Buffalo Bills for, some spring ball practices. And really, it was an opportunity of a lifetime to really go in there. And I knew I wanted to coach at the same time as I wanted to be a player. So, like, really just trying to grasp concepts and different ideas that I knew eventually would help me as a coach now. So, really just wanted to really take advantage of everything that I could from that opportunity.
Hey, thanks, Neon.
Thank you, Rob.
You bet.
It's Randy Peterson at the Des Moines Register. Welcome back again. What we all know about Greg Eisworth. We know, we've seen him play for 3 years at least. What about Hasheem Young? What do you see in him as a player?
With Hasheem Young, he's a very talented player. I think he's, in terms of raw athleticism, some of the things he does is really impressive. He's a very physical player. I think the things with him that, obviously we want to improve on is going to be day by day, practice by practice, meeting by meeting. And really for him, my challenge is really, taking a stronger leadership presence, because you kind of want your better players to be stronger leaders. So I want him to do that. But then at the same time, for his game, getting really good at the things that take no talent, because he is really talented. But in terms of communication, in terms of alignment, in terms of angles to the ball, things that, anybody could do. But I think that's really where he can make his biggest jump as a player.
You talked about his being physical as a player. Maybe a couple times last year against him, and I'll ask you about that in a minute. But what's the fine line between be careful, watch out for targeting, but yet aggressive?
I think it all comes down to technique. This day and age of football, the kill shots, all those type of things, and really focusing on target area, strike area, keeping your head up, seeing where you're hitting. I think all those are things that, we try to teach as coaches, that I think for him, he sees it on tape. He understands it. I think he has to adjust that part of his game, obviously, because we need him on the field. We're better defense when he's on the field. So those are just things that, we know he has to prove on. He knows it, and stuff that we work on in practice.
Are written in favor of the offense?
I'm sorry, you cut out on me, Randy.
Are the rules, as a defensive guy, are the rules written in favor of the offensive players?
There's offensive rules, it's defensive rules. I think, it's the game of football, how we're playing it. So, rules are up for interpretation. So I'm not the one that interprets it. I'm not the one that calls it. I just have to teach my players how the rules are written.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Randy.
Hey, Deon, Travis Hines here. How are you?
I'm good, Travis. How you doing, man?
I'm good, thanks. I just was curious what Eisworth has brought to the room and your impressions of him and having a guy, that normally would be, out pursuing his professional career at this time, back for another year.
I believe Greg really brings a maturity and a leadership presence to the room. And he understands that. And I think that was part of him coming back, is to provide that to the younger guys. He sets a standard for everyone in the room. And I don't shy away from holding him to a standard and letting everybody else know, like, you should be looking at the way Greg goes through his drill work. You should be looking at the way he communicates. And he does the things that take no talent. So I think from that standpoint, for a coach, like I got to make sure the younger guys in the room understand that he is the standard. And we want to keep building his standard so everybody else can see that, hey, as good as he is, he knows there's things that he has to improve on as well. So he brings that leadership maturity and just a way of going about his work.
I know individual accolades are certainly not what everybody is out for, but for him to have a chance to be, a four-time All Big 12 player, it's a league you played in. What's that say about what he's been able to achieve and what's still on the table for him this year?
Yeah, I think when you look at it from that perspective, it's really impressive. But, when you're around Greg, he's not worried about that. He's worrying about every day, how can he get better? And that's been his approach, since I've been here, is that he's not looking at, personal awards. He's not looking like he's a team player, and he came back to win the championship. And he understands the process from now until, if we have that opportunity, what it entails day in and day out that, he needs to do to contribute to. So it is impressive when you look at it from that perspective. But like, I know Greg, and I don't want to speak for him, but I know he doesn't look at those things.
What's been his reaction, or how has he handled you putting him, front and center of, this is the standard that the rest of the room needs to try to match?
I think he embraces it. When you're an older guy and, he's been here, I thought he'd been here since like 2015. He an old guy, but I think when you reach that level of doing it, and having that underneath your belt, I think it comes with time that, hey, this is the way we're going to do things. So being vocal about it and demanding it from the younger guys is something that I want him to kind of get better at and keep progressing as a leader, not only in his position room, but for the defense.
Thanks, Deon.
Thank you, Travis.
Hey, Coach, this is Dave Sproul from KASI Radio here in Ames. I was just curious, have you been able to kind of keep in touch with how the Iowa State program has developed and kind of keep connection with Iowa State as you were progressing through your coaching career? And was it kind of a goal for you to get back to Ames?
I definitely kept track of how everything was going here and within the program. I think anytime you're a former player, the program means a lot to you. So Coach Campbell has always had open arms for any former player. So I've been able to be around it and kind of like glance and see through the hallways and sat in meetings and heard some of his messages. So I knew what was taking place here in Ames. And being in this profession, it was like, man, you always want to come back to your alma mater, but it really became enticing with, being here and seeing the messages and seeing the culture that was taking place. It was a goal of mine personally to get back here, especially with Coach Campbell at the helm.
Hey, Coach, Bill with Cyclone Report here on Rivals. Just curious on a couple of safeties that came off the bench a little bit last season. You weren't coaching them then, but Mason Chambers, Craig McDonald, what have you seen maybe in their games this spring to try to take their level of play to another level?
Well, I think they're very intelligent guys. They're texting me, hey, Coach, hey, if this happens, what do I do? So I think they're very inquisitive, instinctive, and they have the physical assets to be guys that we can count on. So really just like I do with every guy, like holding guys to a standard, and really I've been emphasizing being great at the things that take no talent, which is, communication, aligning right, having your eyes in the right place. I think that's kind of where I'm at with those guys and really seeing where they're at. I think they can improve, but they have a very high ceiling that I think they want to reach. And so it's my job to get them there.
And what about Malik Verdon, the safety that came in? What are you noticing out of him now versus maybe when you first laid eyes on him when you got to Ames?
Malik is a very raw athlete in terms of, coming out of high school, he played offense, he played defense, he played all over the field. So this is really his first time being coached as a safety. And what I really kind of noticed about him is you don't really have to repeat a lot of things to him. He can kind of look and see what, the older guys are doing, and he'll be able to, after about a couple reps, he can do the same thing, which is really impressive, especially for a young guy like him. So I've been impressed in that, but, he has a ways to go, and I think he understands that. So we just want to keep working with him day by day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Hey, Coach, this is Michael Swain from 24/7 Sports. I want to maybe get your opinion on your time with the Houston Texans. How do you feel like that year helped you develop as a coach? And I guess what was it like being around maybe the NFL world on the coaching side of things?
Oh man, it was I want to say it was really enlightening for me because, my role, I was helping the secondary, but at the same time, I had a global perspective on all 11 on defense. So for me, it was, I was able to learn run fits. I was able to learn some defensive line play within my role. And I think overall for me, when I got there, like that was kind of what I wanted to continue to grow as a coach, is the overall perspective on the defense. And I think I was able to do that. And then just, the technique work with some of the veteran players. And I had opportunities to get in front of the entire defense. Thankful for Anthony Weaver, our defensive coordinator. So I grew in a lot of ways as a coach. So I'm really thankful for that opportunity.
And looking at some of the recruiting side here now at Iowa State, what's it been like having to do that all through Zoom? I know that's maybe something that was different from your time at Indiana State.
It's just the circumstances right now. You Zoom with the kid, you FaceTime with the kid, but it all comes down to you presenting, first yourself in the program in a first-class manner. And however you got to do that, and that's just kind of the circumstances right now. You got to do it over Zoom, and you got to do it over FaceTime without those guys getting on campus. So it is what it is right now. Doesn't really deter anything from that standpoint.
And for you being a former player, I guess, how do you feel like that helps you on the recruiting trail and maybe getting that message across?
Oh, I think for me, I'm not reading from a guide. I'm not reading from a book. I'm telling you from a personal experience, and I'm not selling you a dream. I'm selling you a reality that I've seen it, I've walked it, and I had that perspective that I can sell to guys, and it's not really selling because it's true, and I think guys understand that, and I think guys are really, entertaining that. Like, wow, he had that experience, and it's very easy for me to tell guys that because I've been in those shoes, and I've walked in these hallways, and I've played on the field, I've done those things, and I think when you can do that and you can tell guys that, I think it kind of hits in a different manner.
Thank you.
Dion, it's Randy again. Excuse me. In what ways has the Big 12 changed in the last, whatever it was, 10 years, 12 years since you played at Iowa State?
Well, it's a great question, Randy. I would say, offenses are always changing. I think the quarterback being involved in the run game is a little bit different, from various teams that I've seen so far. Look at Oklahoma, you look at Texas, how those guys creating fits for you using the quarterback. Obviously, it's different things like that have changed, but I think the mentality of overall of the Big 12 is like you're going to have to play some defense because you're going to play against some explosive offenses. However they get to it, they get to it. But I don't think that has changed at all. People want to score points, and we got to stop them.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, Ben Visser here from the Cedar Rapids Gazette. What has been your impression of Coach Haycock's defense? It's obviously a little bit unique using three safeties. So what have been your early impressions with it?
What I've learned, my time here with Coach Haycock is that it doesn't really matter if it's three high safeties or if we were running a 3-4, or like it's going to come down to the details. And when you can get the defense down to the details of each assignment, I think it allows your guys to play fast. So, the defense is the defense, and I've been learning and I've been picking it up. Some concepts are the same, but it comes down to the details, and being extremely detailed as a teacher is really what's important to Coach Haycock. So it makes you a better coach when you have to be extremely detailed within the coaching staff. So I enjoy it, and it's a challenge every day to bring your best foot forward each meeting, each practice session, and I'm enjoying that process.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep.
Hello, Coach. Sam Stuvey, Iowa State Daily. I just have a question on some of the different things you've learned throughout each of the stops in your coaching career, starting D3 and then working your way up to the NFL.
Yeah, I think, everybody has its different challenges. Each level has its, unique challenges per se. But I think from a coaching perspective, what doesn't change is the fundamentals and the techniques. You still have to be able to tackle. You still have to be able to cover. You still have to have eye discipline. Maybe the caliber of athlete is different, but those things will never change when you're coaching football. And I think I've learned that from the Division III level into the NFL level, is that you better be able to tackle, you better be able to get off blocks, and you better understand angles. You better create turnovers. If you can do those things successfully, you'll be a good defense. So I think that's really kind of what I've learned in my coaching career so far.
Thank you.
All right. That's all we got for you, Coach. Thanks for your time today.
All right. Appreciate you.